So we had to limit it to 50. We did have the afternoon Zoom meeting, which I think answered a lot of questions. So it may be a little challenging, but we'll take our time going through it. I'm going to give the mic to Priscilla. Everyone else has pretty good coverage on their mics, and hopefully we do a decent job today.
Okay, call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can you please call the roll? Priscilla Patella. Here. Robert Dyer.
I'm here, but I have to tell you, it's very difficult to hear the in-person people. I don't know if we can maybe move the phone closer or...
Eric Dye.
Here.
Christine Arnold. Here. Ben Catanzaro. Here. Roxanne Davenport. Here. Nadia Nugent. Here. Robert Hickok. Here. Okay, can I have a approval for the minutes of July 15th?
Excuse me.
What?
Excuse me, Chair. We have 2 action items we'd like to add to the agenda.
Oh, you don't want to do it after? Okay. All right, can we add 2 action items to the agenda? It would be 8 and 9. 8 would be act to accept Karen Morano's resign from Long River Middle School as a world language teacher. Second? Second. All those in favor? Thank you. Act to support the Region 16 reopening plan is highlighted in the August 12th correspondence. Region 16 will open initially in the fall in a hybrid model. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, thank you very much. Now can we have approval of the minutes from July 12th? Sorry, July 15th.
So moved. Rob Dyer.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Town official comments? Has anyone signed up? No? And do we have public comments? None at all? Okay.
But we have some online.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So we have 16 questions that are submitted online. We generally do not answer those questions here. We will email responses. I do think a lot of our questions were answered today at our Zoom meeting, but I will read the questions in an effort for the public to hear them and send them out, even though I think a lot of them may have been answered, but for further clarification. Also, I was sent 5 or 6 questions from Shira Mashad, who's here also, and I spoke to her personally. I will email those out as well. The questions I answer through email, I will send to the entire community without the name of those individuals that asked those questions. The first question is from Tracy D. from Prospect, and her question was, she lives in 92 Cook Road. For children that have IEPs, how are they going to be accommodated, and what extra support are they going to receive if they choose to participate in district learning rather than in person? It is possible to get the tutor to the school system. I will send a response to that through Shelley McNulty, our Director of Special Services. However, I think it's important for people to understand that if you choose to opt out in district learning, you will not be getting additional services. You will often get slightly less services across the board because it is harder to provide virtual support than it is in school, but we will follow up with a question. The second question, and this is 2 of 16, is from Corey Overcash, a resident of Beacon Falls. And the question is, I've read the plan and know when in school face coverings or masks are required, with exceptions only for students or staff whom it is not safe due to medical condition with medical documentation. I believe any student or staff member without a mask should have to be at much greater distance from other children or staff members from everyone's safety, including their own. Yet when I emailed district office and asked this, unfortunately certain students may not have masks in areas of 3 to 6 apart. To me, anything less than 6 is unacceptable. If the school can't reopen and do it safely, then they shouldn't reopen. In order to sign up to come to this meeting, the form said I must follow CDC guidelines for social distancing, masks, and etc. So if people have to follow CDC guidelines to be at this meeting, why aren't the schools in Region 16 following these guidelines? I think that information has changed. As we've said in a lot of correspondences, there's moving targets. All students and all staff in common areas in classrooms will wear masks. If there's specific cases, they will be handled individually. Third question is from Christopher Overcash. Beacon Falls resident, can you please explain what lunch will look like? I know the plan, it states that the CAF will allow 14 feet between cohorts, yet students within cohorts with masks, how far will they be separated, and who will monitor this? I can answer that question here, so I won't need to send a response. Cohorts are, that information is correct. Cohorts will sit 14 feet apart. Kids will be 3 feet apart, 6 feet when feasible. If not, our guidance is 3 feet is acceptable when you're at recess or when you're eating within your cohorts. But so that the community knows, we've made every effort to increase the size of our cafeterias. We've rented tents, very large tents that are within 10 to 20 feet of the cafeterias, so we could spread the tables out and spread students out in our schools. Now that's be effective in K-5 because our grades are eating amongst themselves, and for the middle school and high school, because we have a reduced population on alternating schedules, I think that will aid to how we're going to serve in the cafeteria. Question 4 was asked by Anne Marie Lamb, a resident of Prospect. For the high school, why are the teams alternating days rather than having one team go Monday and Tuesday and the other team Thursday and Friday? Our feeling was 5 days, not seeing a student for 5 consecutive days would be very challenging. So if we did the AA, Wednesday remote, BB hybrid model, a student on Tuesday you would not see again till the following Monday. Question 6, Elise Kronk, Beacon Falls. If we need to go full distance learning, what is the grading policy at Woodland? I would be favor of pass-fail. At this point, Board of Ed policy on grading is in effect. We are returning in a hybrid model. As we've said all along, this is a moving target. So if schools close due to a spike in COVID, governor's executive order, or the Connecticut State Department of recommendations, then we will revisit grading policy, attendance, so forth and et cetera. But to start the school year, attendance and grading is required at this point. Question 7 of 16, Audrey Fensel of Beacon Falls. How are students expected to take 8 classes and carry the resources for all them, binders and textbooks each day without lockers? It's a terrific question. We've been answering it. Students are not going to be expected to carry all their books for 8 classes a day. Someone had asked me this today if the trapper binders were appropriate. They are. Teachers will let students know on what occasions they'll need books, and we will not overwhelm our students. We will work as a collective team in our schools, middle school and high school, knowing kids have to move from class to class with lockers. We're going to try to do a lot more online, and we will not overwhelm them with the weight of carrying books. We are sympathetic and empathetic to the needs of our students. Question 8 of 16, Christopher Overcash of Beacon Falls. Can you explain what lunch will look like? I think I explained that, so I'll move to the next question. 9 of 16, Aduri Maddu, I apologize if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, of Prospect, Lee Road. Will parents have the option to keep their kids home and only send their students to school 3 times a week? Also, what will the daily capacity be? It's a hard question to answer. Parents have to follow the hybrid model or opt out by filling out the distance learning form, or withdraw a student and do homeschooling. I hope parents do not withdraw students for homeschooling. So you'll have to follow the plan that's in place. Daily capacity will be 50% at the middle school and 50% at the high school. That means close to 250 at the middle school and approximately 325 at the high school. Elementary will be at full capacity. Question 10 of 16, Janice Kindle, Beacon Falls. What will the average class size be at the middle school and elementary school levels? We're hoping to have our average class sizes between 18 and 22. However, with the models that are in place at the middle school and high school, Derek, you're here, Derek Muham, who's the principal of Long River. Can you help me answer that? Are we looking at 10 to 12?
Yes, so
So we're looking between 10 to 12 between middle school and high school with the hybrid model we're putting in place. And we are staggering students in the hallways. Question 11 and 16, Christopher Overcash. Can you please explain, we explained that for lunch again. 12 of 16. That's a repeat question again. 13 of 16, Lucinda Felix, Beacon Falls resident. How do you expect the straight 8 schedule to work? Most students have a lot going on after school, work, driver's ed, extracurricular, so it will be really difficult to do 8 classes worth of homework in one night. Compared to the regular schedule, we had 2 days to do 4 classes worth of work. Additionally, 8 classes will create more need for movement across the schools, which doubles the rate of transmission. Most Woodland students do not feel comfortable or happy with both the 8 schedule and splitting of students. Do you plan on providing extra mental health resources to students while our physical health is much more in danger? The mental health of many students is just out the window and reopening is not helpful at all. How do you plan on helping students with increased anxiety and depression and stress? I will answer that question via email. However, I will recommend you go to our district reopening plan. There's 2 correspondence that have been up recently. One I think was August 5th, and the other is today's August 12th. If you go to the Region 16 website, click the Region 16 reopening link, you'll have our plan spelled out. But I will say this, we are very receptive and aware of the fact that there are mental health issues we want to address. We have Choose Love coming into our middle school and our high school with an advisory program that will be in place. And we also purchased from Yale, Mark Brackett's The Ruler, which we will be bringing into our program. So we will have very prescribed times in which we will be addressing the mental health of our students, as well as our pupil personnel will be addressing that. Question 14 of 16, Melanie of Beacon Falls. Her question is, will there be specials such as gym? If so, inside or outside? And is there a changing requirement? Chorus, band, musical. We are having our electives. I'll send you a detailed response on what they look like. Masks are required, for instance, in PE. If it is inside, it will not be rigorous. If we're able to have PE outside, the mask will be taken off, kids will be spread out. Music, for instance, we have digital curriculums that are going in place, as well as in some of our schools and classes, we're able to spread out on the stage and have chorus. But it'll all be specific to the course that your child is signed up to. And our last question, 16 of 16, which is an anonymous question from Prospect, Columbia Avenue. What happens if a student comes to school on a day they are not scheduled to be there? That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just happy I'm not going to be the administrator in the building when they arrive. I'm sorry to my administrators that are here. I can't answer that yet. I'm not sure what we'll do. We'll handle that on an individual basis. Those are the public questions. I will send out responses to ones I was not able to answer today. Does the board want to contribute to any of that before we move forward? I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Also in our correspondence, we have the superintendent's letter from 7/14, 7/31, and 8/5. They're also in the packets. Okay, treasurer's report.
Balance of the general fund as of today is $1,261,131.42. Tonight's invoices total $1,283,400.60. General fund $1,280,648.48. Federal and state grants $2,752.12. Adult ed other grants, athletic fund 0, capital non-recurrent project 0. Just a note to add, even though the balance is less than tonight's invoices, we don't have an issue. It's just a limit we have with the account to transfer money. We do have the funds in another account that we need to lift the limit of transferring from one account to the other. So there's no issue with, if you notice that the balance of the general fund is less than the invoices. Any questions?
Thank you. And Gavin is going to give us the student reps report. Thank you. You have to repeat that? Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to do it. The reopening committee thank you note and a gift card to Amazon for their work. Their work was outstanding. In these hot summer days, these 34 members, including their support staff, have done an absolutely Herculean effort to create, especially this afternoon when they did the forum. I thought it was informative. I thought they were excellent questions. Almost 500 people were on it, and it's due to our staff and that committee that we've gotten this far. Thank you very, very much. Your report?
Thank you. Boy, I'm tired of listening to myself speak. You guys got to be really tired of hearing from me. I think I'm going to be asked to take a vacation just so you don't have to hear from me or see emails lately. Superintendent's report. I'm going to try to get through the order that I have listed here, but there are changes, and unfortunately the changes are happening daily, if not weekly. We're doing our best to provide correspondence without overwhelming staff, the community, families, and students. So I'm going to go through the reopening committee staffing increases, financial implications. I'm going to ask Tony to help me with that. I'm going to ask Michelle to help me with some schedule changes for the middle school, our revised reopening plan, our reentry for professional learning, and then we'll wrap it up with some of the conversation we're going to have is about substitute pay, but I think we answered our own question with that, and then I'm going to introduce our new director of facilities. So when I start with staffing increases, we have some new positions that are a result of creating cohorts in the COVID model. So we are replacing 4 teachers that have resigned from the region, which is standard practice, but we have had to hire 3 new positions. We had to hire a PES grade 4 teacher and a PES grade 5 teachers because our classrooms are at 24 and 25 in those areas. So we did that, and we're looking to hire an additional Spanish teacher at the middle school. We will no longer be offering Italian at the middle school. We did have a group of students that we were going to offer that for, but if we had to pull out 35 kids of the cohort to spread out with Italian, we would not be implementing cohorts with Fidelity, as well as over the years, it's unfortunate, but we were only offering Spanish and Italian. French was eliminated, and it looked as though we would be eliminating Italian in the next few years because the demand for it has decreased. So we had to hire 3 additional teachers that are certified, which is an increase of close to $100,000 under the COVID new positions. For non-certified, we also had to add 3 custodians, well, 2.5 positions for custodial staff to help with the cleaning. We increased with 2 armed security guards, bringing the total of certified and non-certified close to $180,000 for staffing. The next sheet that's in front of you is our breakdown, and we tried to do a very thorough job, not only for the Board of Ed, but for the state of Connecticut. And when we start applying for FEMA money and money under the CARES Act to get reimbursed from the federal government or the state of Connecticut. Now, there is no assurance that this is 100% guaranteed. However, we're doing what I'm sure all school districts are doing. We're looking for support from the federal and state government. And our breakdown from the COVID model, financial implications, we're looking at close to $1 million in order to provide the PPE services, in order to increase things such as changing the filters in schools. It's about $4,000 in a upgraded filtration system. It's going to be an increase in electrical because we're going to be running our HVAC units 5 additional hours a day so that they could start up and take fresh air in and out of the building. It is things like that that we're ordering, such as additional carts, plexiglass, signage. We purchased 40,000 masks. So, you know, there is a tremendous amount of funding that is going to be required to open school in the hybrid model. So that's what we're looking at. Any questions? This is a big item, but this is a moving target. Any questions from the board on that before I go to the next update I'd like to provide you with?
Michael, if I could, really quick, do we
Great question, Robert. I sent an email out requesting, now teachers are not obligated to do this, but we do have a great staff, a considerate staff, and a supportive staff, asking them to email me by Thursday if they do not plan on coming back or if they need to discuss coming back. I've only had 3 teachers contact me thus far, and that has not been figured in yet, Robert. I don't know how to figure that in, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've had a couple administrative meetings. I meet with 2 superintendent groups twice a week, 60 superintendents. We're all hashing that out. I have not figured in the cost if teachers stay home. There's going to be a break point, which is in our plan if 30% of the students don't come, and if a percentage of teachers don't come, we may have to go to remote learning. But I do not have that figured in at this point, Robert. You're welcome. Anyone else? There's no need to rush through this. I know it's a challenging topic. Sure. That is not correct. The Italian teacher whose action item 8 has resigned. However, we do have students that had taken Italian, so we are going to offer a stipend position so that those students who are in 8th grade can get it virtually at night. We won't hire a teacher, but we will pay a stipend because I don't think it's fair for students who took Italian. So I am going to create a plan where we'll pay an Italian teacher in the district or hire someone outside to teach Italian 2 nights a week so those students can finish their middle school years with Italian. Those students will also be taking Spanish, but if they want to finish it, I think we have an obligation to that. Yeah, that position has become a Spanish position. Go ahead, Naz.
Matt, just a quick question. As far as technology-wise, I see the iPads, which looks like the biggest item. Is there any extra items you have to get since going at the end of last year to starting this year?
We did make a few, we did make a few software purchases, things like Google Enterprise Education Edition, and then along with the iPads, we were able to fill the Chromebooks out with existing stores. However, we did have to order secondary adapters so the kids could take an adapter home and still be able to charge in school. There were a lot of costs like that. Microphones for the classrooms and the supporting technology to bring that in was also something we had to pay for this summer. It's on Tony's financial implications worksheet. I don't think there are any large costs outside that don't already exist on that sheet.
I think also last year we used part of our leasing program to purchase some of the computers in March.
Oh, yeah, we used some leasing funds. We used some leasing funds for that this summer as well.
Yeah, so we had leasing funds that we might have shifted what our capital plan was with it, but we were able to pick it up. I mean, that's what you do when you're in a pandemic. You reallocate your resources. So I think we're decent, but the microphones are a big purchase, and we're trying to have one-to-one devices for our K-1 students in case we go distance in the remote on Wednesdays, Naz.
Another question, not budget-wise, I guess, but are we gonna have like maybe a quick dry run of having a class with a couple of students maybe from home with the teachers to see how the communication kind of goes?
We did. Go ahead, man.
That was a lot of what last spring was.
We did that.
And a lot of that experience from the spring informed what we think we needed to buy this summer to make it work. In addition to that, the professional development weeks that Jeff Flaherty and Romano did were both done using that technology, using that same classroom setup, the same Chromebook, the same microphone, things like that. So, that in and of itself, the teachers got to see what it looks like being a student in that scenario. Jim and Deb are kind of teaching to what they wanted the teachers to be able to do come fall.
We also did a test run where we had installed cameras and microphones, and we were considering purchasing, we did purchase the microphones because we're going to live stream those classes for kids that are learning remotely, but we tried with the cameras and we just were not happy with the cameras, installing a camera that films the room. One, the visual was poor. Two, there'd be a issue with FERPA issues and compliance issues, as well as we didn't even know if we'd be able to purchase the cameras for 300 classrooms and install them. So we went with the microphone and live streaming what's on the computer screen or what's on the projector.
Yeah, I think you find if we looked at other districts, they run the gamut from full conferencing setups in every classroom to, no other additional changes in the classroom. When we looked at the candidate But the primary decision there was the teacher teaching in that space that this really isn't adding much to the experience. Now, with that said, we think on the lower elementary levels, there's probably a good place for supplemental cameras. So we do have document cameras coming in that we can use for things like manipulatives, that the teachers can point at themselves while they're reading a book. So I think there'll be a space for some video in the classroom, but I don't think it needs to be a K-12 solution.
Because the expectation is gonna be basically that students are on from first thing in the morning till the end of the day when they're virtual.
Correct.
They probably kind of lag, I would say, in the spring.
Yeah, I mean, it's a change to have.
This is a shift to what we were doing last year.
We're doing it live scheduled later classroom meeting. That was not something we did in the spring, but it's something we're doing now.
And that's something just to push out the expectation to all the students and the parents that the kids need to be on.
Yeah, that is mandatory, and it does change the way the teacher teaches, even if you have one distance learning student in your class, and they're not in a hybrid mode, for instance. You still need to focus your instruction on what you're projecting to the students at home. So that's a lot of what that PD covered earlier, late July, early August.
I think what Nazi's getting at, and Naz, correct me if I'm wrong, you want the community to know that last year we were forced into closing schools and teaching remotely. And I think we did a decent job with it. I think we learned a lot from last year. We took the things we did well and expanded upon them. The things we didn't do well, we got rid of. One of the differences, we are starting this year with Board of Ed policy on attendance and on grading. Whether you're in the classroom or home, you are going to be required to attend that class virtually if you're not in class. And that's a shift with last year. There'll be new information daily. It's not get on and get the information when you can, unfortunately. So that's the difference in the plan.
Thanks.
I have a question, Matt, while you're up there before you walk away. In all of your testing, have you taken a look at the bandwidth requirements of doing a live stream in 300 classrooms, so to speak? Yeah, so have you reached out to look into expanding our internet bandwidth?
We have, we've got about 160 classrooms K-12, and, we have a pretty good expectation of what those bandwidth requirements are. We're looking at about 4.5 megabits in the Google Meet. I'm not expecting the students in those classrooms to also be, if your hybrid cohort is in the classroom, I don't expect you to be joining to that meeting virtually. And there's some things that we're going to talk to teachers about as school comes in, like, muting cameras when appropriate, to reduce that bandwidth cost. However, with that said, we're in a pretty unique situation in Region 16, and now we have two CEN uplinks. We have a gigabit uplink for Woodland Regional and Laurel Edge, and then we have a gigabit uplink for Long River and Prospect Elementary School. So from a bandwidth standpoint, I think we're going to be okay. However, I did inquire with CEN about having them send an additional 1 gig optic to each of those schools, so we could double their bandwidth just proactively.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Any other questions? If not, I'll move to Long River Middle School schedule changes that took place during our curriculum meeting today. All the board members have in their packet a schedule overview. Basically, I'll summarize it because I'm sure you've read it and I know curriculum committee has spoke to it. Then I'll ask the chair of the curriculum committee if they'd like to speak to it. One is that we're going to be cohorted for a 7-period day. 2 is we're providing additional coverage for academic support classes. We're using interventionists. We're using some of our itinerant, and we're also hiring an instructional aide to provide support there. We'll be escorting students to lunch by cohort, and digital music will be offered in lieu of band and course to adhere to CDC guidelines. That may change a little bit. If we can do some band and course in some of our larger common areas, we will do that as well. I think Eric Dye is chair of our curriculum committee. Eric, would you like to speak at all towards that meeting today?
So I think you summed it up, and I think that the work that we've done in the past, this is a big ask for middle school to really change a lot of what's being done and how the program progresses. And so, as you said, it's quite a hurdle as things keep changing.
Thank you, Eric, and I do have to thank Eric. I did request that Michelle called Eric middle of the week about 3 weeks ago. We had met with Derek, myself, and Michelle. We were switching cohorts. I asked Derek and his administrative team, Mary Witham and Linda Barluski, who's done a great job supporting him, to redo their schedule 3 times, which means reschedule 500 students, because our plans were changing. And we called Eric. Eric got on the phone with us. We kind of rubber stamped what we were doing, because unfortunately we had to start moving forward without the board approval, but we wanted the chair of the curriculum committee to be on board so that we made sure we weren't going off the ranch. So thank you, Eric and Derek and everyone else that's been involved. The reopening plan. So I've said this 1,000 times, but I think it has to be said again. We submitted our reopening plan to the state on July 24th. We uploaded the plan. On August 5th, we sent correspondence out to families, students, and staff. We tried to do weekly correspondence about highlighted anticipation of frequently asked schedules, the model which we would be going forward with, which is our AA remote BB schedule 6 through 12, and our 4-day-a-week school for the elementary school. So all that's been sent out. Today, we had a Zoom meeting, which I think Bob and Priscilla mentioned, which really went well, over 400 people. It was our first time doing it like that, and hopefully we were able to meet the needs of the community that had questions. We also sent out, dated August 12th, a document which is a highlighted version of the comprehensive Region 16 plan. We uploaded it, sent it to the community, and we added it as action item 9 tonight. I'd like to speak to it now a little bit. It's a summary of the plan, because the plan is very involved and it's not user-friendly. So we tried to highlight the plan so that the board could support it, the community knows what the expectations are of students and of staff. This plan has us opening in a hybrid model, September 1st, which would be the new first day of school. It also breaks down grouping, it breaks down information that there are 3 reasons why we could switch models, and the board approves how we're moving forward with it. It's also very clear that all students and all staff members need to wear masks. Included in the plan, and I have to give a tremendous amount of credit to Ryan McKenzie and a number of other instructional leaders, as well as the middle school, who put out September 1st schedule for the high school and the middle school, so you could, you know, like when I was a child and my mother would a magnet put your schedule, or well, usually for us it was our chores, 4 kids, on the fridge, so you could look at, okay, today's Monday, what are my chores today? It's similar. You put the schedule up somewhere in the house, your child knows if he's group A, it's Monday, September 1st, is he going to school? September 2nd, is he going to school? Because it gets complicated. We will send this out once a month, but we don't want to go too far in advance. That's included in the plan. Finally, I'm going to be looking for the board to approve tonight as well a revised school calendar. It adds 2 days at the beginning of the school year for professional development. It also includes remote learning on Wednesdays. The 2 days for professional development were requested by the state, one for COVID training, one for reopening plans. It brings us to 180 days instead of 181 days. It also identifies that snow days are not approved by the Connecticut State Department of Education, that we can use remote days for that. So there's a lot of unknowns. This calendar is going to be approved, but I'm hoping to revisit in January. This is the latest and greatest version that I'm going to ask the board to support tonight. I'd like to stop there for a minute and see if anyone has questions or concerns. Okay. I think everybody's heard it and seen it. A perfect example is we had 50 members of the community signed up to come tonight, but after the 2-hour Zoom session, I think a lot of questions were answered. So I think people understand what we're doing and are grasping it now. Of course, some of us agree, some of us disagree, but everybody realizes we're doing what we think is the best. We also included in the packet, really just for the board's information, which is our professional learning plan. In the week before we open school for students, staff will start school coming back on August 26th. We will have a welcome back breakfast. It'll be a convocation. It'll be virtual this year. So on the 26th, we'll have a virtual meeting from district office. All staff faculty will report in person on site to their schools, and they could go into their individual classrooms and watch the welcome back breakfast. On the 27th, we'll have a morning and an afternoon session about COVID training, and then we give the afternoon to teachers for teacher prep time. On the 28th, we have scheduled professional learning because we don't want to lose sight of the fact that our number one job is teaching and learning in this region, and we want to stick to the fact that we have to be academically focused for our kids to achieve. On the 31st, all staff will report to the respective schools. The administrators and instructional leaders will present, and they'll be preparing for re-entry into hybrid learning. On September 1st, we'll start school. Let me clarify that too. On September 1st, Group A will start school. Group B will be virtual. On September 2nd, Group A will start, Group B will start, and Group A will be virtual. As an aside to that, the first week are going to be half days for students. We need to debrief as a staff at the school how we're doing. This is the first time we're faced with these circumstances. We may have to make drastic changes. We're asking the community to systemically change the way they attend school and how we teach and learn. So that is the first week prior. Any questions or suggestions? Gavin, what do you think? All right, wonderful. Gavin's been communicating with me, though, through email and through messages, so we've been talking, and we're lucky to have you tonight. Tony and I had talked about substitute teacher pay. Tony, why don't you speak to that? I think we're comfortable where we are, but we looked at it because we know substitutes are going to be an issue this year coming to school.
Certainly. So about 3 weeks ago, we started receiving some notifications from a couple of substitute teachers saying that they were going to be pursuing work in, I believe, Seymour and Oxford because they were paying a little bit higher, $100 a day and $105 a day respectively. We surveyed our closest neighboring towns, Ansonia, Derby, Wallingford, and Cheshire, and their rates are still about $80 or $85 a day, and they have no plans of raising those rates at this moment. So I think we're at a happy medium right in the middle at $90 a day. I don't believe it's necessary at this point for us to adjust our rates, but it is open for discussion.
Yeah, we were really worried. We've heard some things, so we did a little quick survey, and I think we're right in line with our substitute pay. If anybody would like to contribute to that conversation or make suggestions, it's on the table.
I think we should move it to $100.
Priscilla suggested we move it to 100.
So Michael, do we adjust rates on pay, or is it still at the rates that I'm looking at here in my packet?
You're looking at what's at the packet. I did not adjust it because I felt like we were right in line with what the pay was.
One thing that I think is going to be problematic as this goes on farther down the road is we're going to be competing with all of these surrounding districts for subs. And if there's a situation where, a significant number of staff members are out for a day, of the coverage, and we're competing with surrounding towns for the same pool of subs, can we maybe think about offering some sort of tiered program, like if they come in for us on one day, if we call them, for example, and say, are you available this day? And they say, yes, we can, and they come on in, we pay them their daily rate. If we call them again and they respond, in the affirmative again, can we maybe give them a graduated pay scale if they keep responding yes, and then if they say no, for example, they go back down to the first step?
We can think that's a good suggestion. We can think about that, Robert. So if we see loyalty, maybe we increase it for that person so there's more incentive to stay loyal to us.
That's exactly right, so that it gives us a leg up on the surrounding towns who are fighting over the same pool of subs.
I'll have Tony look at it with the business office, and we'll try to come together with something. We'll send an email out. The other thing is, and I'm remiss for not to say this, we do pay for a permanent sub in all 4 of our schools. So I don't think other towns do that. We do have a permanent sub in all 4 of our schools. So we do have someone that's there every day that this region has committed to. So that is a plus that most don't. But I like your idea, Tony. You think we could maybe try to put something together?
Of course.
So there's some incentive.
Offer them, even if
we were to offer them something after their first 10 days, they get a different rate after they've been in the district for so long.
After you substitute for 10 times.
Every 10 times.
Where I was going with that was, you know, if they keep responding yes every time we call them, they stay on that higher pay level. The minute they say, no, we're gonna scoop this somewhere else, or we're not available today, then they start back over again.
Yeah, it sounds...
Stay, you know, responsive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we'll put something together like that. I think that has tremendous value. When I first came here 7 years ago, we had 72 paraprofessionals. I've said this story more than once, but 54 of them were part-time. Now we have 64 paras, and I think 80% of them are full-time. We've now increased the commitment of our paras and our instructional aides, and I think it's become cost-effective over time.
I got a question on the rate. Do we know what Cheshire, Woken, and Waterbury is? There's three schools that surround us that are not on.
Waterbury is $90 a day. Yeah. I don't know Cheshire. We can find out.
I mean, we're going to have to compete, and I'm not opposed to looking at something that tiers it for loyalty or something like that. Robert, where I disagree with your plan is, you know, I say yes 5 times, and you call me, and I want to come in, but I got a family commitment that day, and so I got called, and I say no, so I just going to go back to the starting line again.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, I think the value here, I think what you have to do is, you know, there are going to be enforcement certificates and like that, but I think the value is really in enticing people to say yes to otherwise say that, you know, you're looking at some of these other ones. I mean, I'm looking at the sheet here, and there's, you know, a couple of them that are more than us. You know what I mean? So without that, I don't know that there's an incentive really to stay loyal. You know what I mean? You know, like in days where you need more subs that just aren't available, and the option of combining classrooms is not going to be feasible anymore. So, you know, I see problems. I'm trying to figure out ways to send them off.
And we'll put something together and send it out. And I think there can be different scenarios for if you miss one day, but you don't miss 3 or 2 consecutively. We're also, just so everyone knows, we're also trying to come up with a plan on how substitutes are going to be in our buildings, because we don't want substitutes moving from school to school every day and being exposed to hundreds of different students. So that's a big issue right now, probably bigger than the $10 difference between pay.
Or other school districts, Michael. You know, if they sub for us for 3 days, and then they head on over to Oxford for a couple of days and then come back. I mean, you know, now they've exposed our kids to a whole different group of people.
I hear you, Robert. I don't have an answer. I truly don't. No, we can't.
We can't, but we can incentivize people to stay within our district by doing a tiered plan. That was the whole point.
My whole point is to bring it to $100 and then be equitable with what is exactly around us, Seymour and Oxford.
We'll come up with a couple scenarios for our next board meeting, and we'll present it as an action item.
Bob, to answer your question, Cheshire's at $85 a day for non-certified and $90 for certified.
So there's 85 and we're top 3. Go, Christine. We have a virtual training scheduled. Regina Merzak is our substitute coordinator, and she will be doing a virtual training for our substitute and our interns this year. And we are having a new teacher orientation on October 24th at district office, and that's in person. Thank you. Finally, some good news. Well, bittersweet. As people know, Steve Martoni, who's been with the region for over 16 years, has resigned. He's taking another position. But we are we're happy to introduce tonight our new Director of Facilities, Mark M. Perino. Mark, would you come forward, please, for a minute? So, I'm going to read the correspondence I sent out to the community and to the Board of Ed. Dear parents, teachers, Region 16 staff, and community members, I'm thrilled to introduce Mark M. Perino as the new Director of Facilities for Regional School District 16. Mark has an extensive resume managing large facilities and organizations. He has worked for healthcare facilities, governmental agencies, and school systems. He began his career over 26 years ago with the Newtown Board of Education. He has worked for the Hartford Public Library, Chase Collegiate, and the City of Bridgeport, to name a few. He has managed custodial departments, developed budgets, supervised outside contractors for capital improvement projects, as well as monitored life safety inspections and training for maintenance problems. Mark is a Prospect resident and comes to us highly recommended from previous supervisors and local contractors. He is a team player, extremely responsible, and a conscientious and hardworking individual. Mark is a qualified facilities manager who will bring professionalism and commitment to his daily duties and tasks involved in Region 16. The Board of Ed feels his range of leadership skills are aligned to the core values and beliefs of Region 16. The Board of Ed and Superintendent feels his skill sets, knowledge, and accolades are reflective of the administrative leaders we want to be a part in our community. Mark will be a true asset to the leadership team and the entire education community in Region 16. We are excited to welcome him to the district and to the administrative team. Mark, welcome, and thank you for being with us today. Would you like to say anything, or it's up to you? You don't have to say any more than that.
Though I won't officially be starting until August 31st, I did spend a shadow day today here with Steve. I got to go around to the buildings. I have been a Prospect resident for over 15 years. My kids went to these schools, and I'm happy to give back to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm done. Any questions? There you go.
Okay, action items. Can we have a motion to approve the proposed revised school calendar for 2021? Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Act to accept the LRMS Spanish teacher, Stacy Glosshart, letter of resignation. So moved, and a second by Nezzy. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Act to accept middle school's ELA teacher Wendy Zulo's letter of resignation. Bob and? Second. Thank you, Roxy. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Act to hire the new certified staff for 2021. Do we have to do that individually by name or no? Okay. I'm sorry, second was by Christine? Yes. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Act to approve Greenleaf electrical work for the high school. Nazzy and Christine, thank you. Any discussion? Is there any discussion, Michael?
I don't have any facilities stuff that our facilities committee previously brought up at our last meeting. It's just an additional incentive to Eversource related to our electrical and our power upgrades. Is that correct, Tony?
Correct. There's a little bit of narrative to it in the director's report.
Discuss it first, Tony.
Eversource is offering a ton of additional incentive money right now because they basically had no projects during the COVID shutdown. So they're offering us an additional $70,000 incentive to do some additional measures at Woodland. It does bring our cost of the project up by about $30,000, but it takes our payback period from 3 years to 1.7. Those additional measures will bring our savings up to $9,000 a month, and our monthly payment for those measures will be $8,000 a month. So even on top of the bill, we are saving an additional $1,000 a month there.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's a no-brainer personally. But
No, it is. Okay, no other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Great job, Tony. Thank you.
Act to set proposed timeline change for staffing needs for world language teacher at middle school and eliminating the transitional teacher for K-1. Second? Second. Second by Roxy. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Act to approve the change in the approved 2021 schedule for the Board of Education meetings. Second? Ben? And discussion?
Just like, I have written, we moved it because we initially scheduled it during the April vacation.
Right. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. And now we have action item 8. Act to accept Karen Morano's resignation from the middle school as world language teacher. Roxy? Robert? Discussion? All those in favor? Okay, motion accepted, thank you. 9, act to support the Region 16 reopening plan is highlighted in the August 12th correspondence. Region 16 will open initially in the fall in a hybrid model.
I'd like to make that motion, if I could, with the addition of a thank you to the reopening committee for their hard work.
Okay, is that okay? We'll take the motion from Robert and the second from Bob. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you, 100%. Okay. Director of Finance, Tony?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say it's so nice to see all of you in person again. The first item is the ESSER fund application has been reopened by the Connecticut State Department of Education. I'm just about complete with that right now. I'll be probably submitting it by the end of this week. Once we have that application submitted and approved, we can move on to applying for FEMA funds and the Coronavirus Relief Fund to try to cover some of these COVID expenses that we're incurring. We have a couple of new hires. Sarah Schaus has been hired as their new payroll coordinator. She starts this coming Monday. Lisa Jones was initially hired per diem for the region and has since accepted a contract until June 30th, 2021, picking up the responsibilities that were previously held by Janet Fleet. And we did introduce Mark earlier. I guess he's left now. Anthem has issued Region 16 a $53,000 credit check that was based on April's health insurance bill. This is something that most of the health insurance companies are doing as a result of COVID. Our charge is to apply that to the October health insurance bill, and a small amount of that will be refunded to employees who paid into the plan in April. I did discuss the last item already, which is the Greenleaf and Eversource changes to the project, but I did want to bring up the sudden change in Eversource generation rates that's been a hot topic over the last couple weeks. Our July bills did come in substantially higher than what we were expecting them to be. Since then, Pura has ordered Eversource to back those rates down temporarily while they can investigate where exactly those rates should be. But if Pura allows Eversource to restore those rates, there will be a dramatic effect on our electricity budget this year. So it is something I just wanted to bring to your attention early in the year, as we're just getting started and we've already seen massively inflated electric bills.
Okay, and as far as the electric bills, I think everyone's fighting that battle, unfortunately. Okay, old business. Do we have anything to come before this board? New business?
Only that I'll probably schedule a Zoom meeting when you want it. I'll send a quick survey out at the end of the week if they want us to have another Zoom meeting.
Thank you. Is there any items for the next Board of Ed meeting?
I have two, and then anyone from the board. One is we'll be discussing financial implications, and then also I have a document I'm going to give the board before they leave today, and who's not here, we're going to send it. It's Tony and I, well, more Tony than I, but we broke down end of the year surplus and 4 or 5 different options that I'd like to bring to the board in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Anyone else have anything for the next meeting? No. Informational items. Anyone have anything besides what's in the packet? Okay. Committee reports. Personnel and negotiations. The EPSU meeting was canceled for tonight. We have a tentative agreement which will be discussed by the next meeting. Curriculum?
Region 16 teacher impact bargaining is going to be tomorrow with myself, teachers union, and attorney Jessica Ritter. Once information comes forward, I'll share it with the board.
Okay. Curriculum meeting that was held today before the meeting? No? Anything? Anything on policy? Public communication? Technology? Recognition?
I just have one thing on the PTOs. I don't know if this is the right spot or not. The PTO parents in all 4 schools have either been a part of our reopening committee or have been sending me emails on regular basis, either as liaisons to what people are asking for, or compliments, or suggestions. I really have had more communication with the PTO officers than I've had in years. Not that I haven't been involved with them. And I just want to give a, I don't know, like the kids say, a quick shout out. The PTO parents have been great, people that I can call on an email, and I'm truly appreciative of that.
If I could add, Mike, just to second that, I mean, based on the answers they provide to all of the questions, very positive atmosphere basically with the results and the questions. So I definitely second that. Yeah.
Okay. Adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Second? By Ben? Oh, all right. Okay, all those in favor? Thank you very, very much, everyone.